In the shadowed grip of certainty, where joy flees like mist at dawn, a soul yearns for unseen freedom. This is the whisper of surrender, the dance beyond rigid chains. Imagine a life mapped to perfection, yet hollow as an empty well. What if letting go unlocks the stars? What if control is the true illusion? Dive deep into this ancient tale, where wisdom cracks the armored heart, and trust becomes the greatest power. Feel the pull of the unknown river, calling you to float, not fight. This story will reshape your world, teaching that true strength lies in release. Prepare to unravel your tight fists and embrace the flow of destiny. In the ancient heart of Konya, Turkey, where minarets pierced the azure sky, and the wind carried echoes of mystics, lived a young man named Hamid. He was the heir to vast fortunes, son of a merchant whose caravans spanned empires. Known for his razor-sharp intellect, Hamid dissected problems like puzzles. His discipline was legendary, unyielding, a fortress against chaos and whim. He planned every dawn to dusk, mapping meals with precise portions, choosing paths to avoid even minor delays. Even his walks to the bustling marketplace were timed to the rhythm of the sun. He believed life was a grand equation, solvable through logic and will alone. If structured with ironclad rules, existence could bow to human command. Yet, beneath this polished exterior, a storm brewed in his restless soul. No matter how firmly he held the reins, joy evaporated like dew in heat. He possessed wealth that kings envied, status that drew admiring glances, admirers who whispered his praises. But an emptiness gnawed at his core, like a thorn embedded too deep to remove. His nights were filled with silent questions. Why did success feel like ashes? Why did his heart itch for more? A nameless longing that logic ignored? He tried to fill it with more plans, more acquisitions, more calculated risks. But the void only deepened, echoing, reminding him that control had limits. Deep down, he sensed a greater force, but pride dismissed it as weakness. How could surrender ever bring peace? Wasn't drifting the path of fools? This internal war waged daily, wearing him thin like eroded stone. He masked it with busier schedules, but the ache persisted, unrelenting. One crisp spring morning in Konya, as blossoms painted the air with fragrance, a rumor spread like wildfire through alleys. It fluttered on lips of young and old, carried by the scent of blooming jasmine. Rumi, the revered scholar and mystic, whose words ignited souls across lands, was to speak in the lush rose garden, hidden behind the grand old mosque. Crowds buzzed with anticipation and wonder. Rumi's teachings were rivers of light, blending poetry with divine insights. Though Hamid scorned such spiritual pursuits, labeling them as fanciful distractions, unscientific indulgences for the idle, a strange pull tugged at his chest. Was it mere curiosity stirring, or the persistent void demanding answers? Logic urged him to ignore the call, stick to his meticulously planned day. But the ache in his heart whispered louder, promising relief from his inner turmoil. Perhaps this mystic held a key to healing what reason could not touch. He debated through the morning hours, weighing pros against his rigid code. Finally, he yielded to the impulse, stepping out toward the garden's embrace. As he walked, doubts swirled like dust, but a spark of hope flickered alive. What if this was the missing piece? The garden awaited, alive with seekers. Upon arriving, the scene enveloped him. Roses bloomed in vibrant crimson hues, their petals soft as whispered prayers. The air hummed with quiet expectation as people sat on woven carpets. Rumi entered, his presence a calm storm, eyes twinkling with infinite wisdom. He wore simple robes, unadorned, yet radiated light that drew all near. Hamid sat at the edge, skeptical, arms crossed in defensive posture. Rumi began with a gentle smile, his voice a melody soothing the soul. Today, we speak of surrender's grace, the art of floating on life's river. He paused, letting words sink deep, then launched into his first parable, the story of the river and the clay bowl. Let me paint it vividly for you, so its depths may pierce your heart. In a distant village by a winding stream, lived a potter named Tariq, masterful. His hands shaped clay into wonders, bowls that held water, food, and dreams. Each piece fired in kills of fire, emerged strong, beautiful, purposeful. One fateful day, a wandering monk arrived. Cloaked in humility, eyes serene. He approached Tariq with an odd plea. Craft me a bowl unlike any other. Not to hold, but to eternally float. Down the river without sink or halt. Tariq chuckled at the absurdity. Bowls are vessels for service and rest. They contain, they nurture, they stay put. Floating forever? That's against their nature. But the monk's gaze held quiet insistence, a challenge to rethink what we know. So Tariq gathered finest clay from banks, kneaded it with care and precision. He shaped a lightweight, elegant form, thin walls curving like gentle waves, fired it slowly under starry skies, until it gleamed with ethereal grace. At dawn, they met by the river's edge, where waters murmured ancient secrets. The monk placed the bowl on the surface, and it bobbed lightly, defying weight. Now observe, the monk said softly. Do nothing, let the current decide. Tariq watched, his instincts urging action. The bowl drifted smoothly at first, then snagged in a swirling eddy's grasp. Tariq's hand shot forward to rescue it, but the monk gently restrained him. Let it be, he whispered firmly. Surrender is the path to freedom. Minutes stretched into tense eternity as the bowl spun in chaotic circles. Tariq's mind raced with frustrations. Why not intervene, guide it right? But slowly, the current reclaimed it, pulling it free from the trap's hold. It floated onward, tipping precariously, brushing rocks, dodging fallen branches. Yet it never sank, never shattered. Days turned to weeks, the bowl journeyed far. Unseen by crowds, unapplauded by masses. It traversed bends, rapids, calm pools, adapting without force or plan. The monk returned to Tariq's side, his face alight with tranquil joy. See, the bowl has fully surrendered, he explained with profound simplicity. In yielding to the river's will, it finds endurance beyond its form. Tariq pondered, his worldview shifting. The bowl wasn't aimless or lost. It was liberated from rigid purpose. No longer bound to hold or serve, it became one with the flow itself. This, dear listeners, is surrender's essence. Not passivity, but active trust. The river represents life's divine current. Unpredictable, wise, eternally moving. We are the bowls, crafted with care, but often we resist the stream. We cling to banks, fearing the unknown, building dams of plans and fears. But in surrender, we gain true buoyancy, floating through storms without breaking. Deeply consider this. Control is illusion, a fragile shell against vast forces. When we grip too tight, we crack under pressure. Surrender lightens us, makes us resilient. It invites miracles, unseen paths. The bowl didn't fight the eddies. It waited, trusted, and was freed. So too, our souls in life's grand river. Let go of the need to steer every turn, and discover joy in the journey's unfold. Hamid listened, his brow furrowed deep. The tale unsettled his ordered mind. A bowl adrift without direction? No purpose, no control, just chance? How could this be wisdom's call? It contradicted all he held dear. His life was built on calculated moves, each step a victory over uncertainty. Yet the story stirred something buried, a whisper that perhaps he was stuck, like the bowl in that initial eddy. Rumi's eyes met Hamid's across the garden, sensing the turmoil in his skeptical heart. Ah, I see resistance in your gaze, Rumi said with compassionate warmth. Let me share another tale, closer home, to illuminate the chains we forge. The falcon and the masterful king. Expand your imagination to royal courts, where power and beauty intertwined. There once ruled a mighty king, whose kingdom stretched from mountains to seas. He received a gift most magnificent, a falcon with feathers like burnished gold, its eyes sharp as desert stars, wings built for soaring endless skies. But alas, the bird refused to fly. Perched stubbornly on its gilded stand, it clung to a single branch tightly, ignoring calls to hunt or glide. The king, baffled and frustrated, summoned experts from far and wide. Falconers with years of cunning tricks, healers with potions and ancient herbs, even sorcerers chanting mystic spells. All tried, all failed miserably. The falcon remained grounded, unyielding, its potential locked in fearful grip. Despair settled over the royal halls, until one day, a humble farmer arrived. Unannounced, clad in simple earth-stained clothes, he offered no grand promises or tools. The king, desperate, granted him audience. The farmer asked only one thing: to spend a single night with the bird. No one understood his quiet plan, but the king agreed, hope flickering faint. That night, under the moon's silver watch, the farmer sat in silent communion. He spoke no words, performed no rituals, simply observed the falcon's plight. At dawn's first light, a miracle unfolded. The falcon launched into the vast sky, soaring with grace and unbridled power. It circled high, diving like lightning, free as the wind it was born to ride. The king rushed out, astonishment wide, demanding to know the secret cure. "What magic did you wield?" he asked. The farmer bowed low, voice steady. "I did nothing grand, my lord," he replied with humble truth. "I simply removed the branch it clung to." The court gasped, the lesson landing hard. The falcon's own grip had imprisoned it, clinging to safety, fearing the fall. Once the false security was gone, instinct took over, wings unfurled. Freedom came not from force or coaxing, but from releasing the self-made chain. Rumi paused, letting the words resonate, the garden filled with thoughtful murmurs. Deeply reflect on this, my friends. We are often like that noble falcon, gifted with wings to touch the heavens, yet we cling to our familiar branches. These branches are our plans, our fears, our illusions of control and safety. We build them strong, thinking they protect, but they ground us, prevent our flight. Surrender here means cutting the tie, trusting our innate ability to soar. It's not abandonment of effort, but redirection of misplaced attachment. The farmer didn't push the bird. He removed the obstacle of its own making. So too, in life, our tight holds bind us. Let go and discover your true heights. Fear whispers that release brings ruin, but truth shows it brings liberation. The falcon didn't plummet to earth. It ascended to its destined glory. Apply this to your daily struggles. When deals fail or paths twist unexpectedly, instead of gripping harder in panic, release the branch, spread your wings. Trust the air currents of divine will. They carry you farther than force ever could. Hamid's face tightened like a drawn bow. The stories chipped at his armored beliefs. He'd spent decades crafting his branches, layering plans like fortress walls. Each one a safeguard against failure, a guarantee of predictable outcomes. Yet wasn't he precisely like that falcon? Potent, capable, but eternally grounded. Never tasting the thrill of true flight, stuck in the safety of his perch. The realization stung like salt in wounds, igniting a fire of inner conflict. His hand rose tentatively, voice steady. "Master Rumi," he called out clearly, "are you advocating utter inaction? To forsake planning, reason, and drift blindly, like aimless bowls in turbulent waters?" The crowd hushed, awaiting the response. Rumi turned, his smile warm as sunlight, eyes holding Hamid's with gentle fire. That maddening, knowing, compassionate grin. "No, my dear seeker," Rumi replied softly. "I do not preach laziness or folly. Surrender is not the absence of effort, but the wisdom to align with greater flow. Let the river guide your sturdy boat, but row diligently when currents call. The heart holds wisdom beyond mere fear. It senses rhythms the mind ignores. You equate control with unyielding safety, yet often it's the chain binding joy. Imagine a prisoner in a golden cell, lavish but locked, forever confined. Control is that cage, ornate yet limiting. Trust is the key that swings doors wide. It's not weakness, but profound strength. To face uncertainty with open arms. Consider a mighty tree in the forest. Does it grip the sky to reach higher? No, it simply opens to the nourishing sun. Roots deep in earth, branches yielding to wind. It bends in storms, never breaking, growing taller through flexible grace. Rigidity snaps under pressure's weight, while surrender endures and thrives. Deeply understand this subtle dance. Action paired with detached trust. Plan your steps, but hold them lightly, ready to pivot when life whispers change. Fear drives us to overgrip the wheel, but love invites us to enjoy the ride. In surrender, we access divine guidance, a compass more accurate than any map. Your soul knows paths your mind denies. Listen to its quiet, insistent voice. The sun began its slow descent, casting golden hues over fragrant roses. Shadows lengthened like thoughtful pauses. Rumi rose, walking among the gathered, his steps light as if floating on air. He paused beside Hamid, close enough to feel the warmth of shared humanity. You've constructed a magnificent cage. Rumi murmured, voice for him alone. Golden bars of plans and achievements, but cages remain prisons, no matter the shine. Tell me, brave one, what might occur if for just one day you release the wheel? No frantic steering, no forced outcomes. Simply breathe, observe, allow the unfold. Hamid's mind raced like a startled horse, arguments surging, defenses rising. But deeper still, in his soul's quiet chamber, a profound stillness began to bloom. It was unfamiliar, almost frightening, yet soothing like a long-forgotten lullaby. Rumi nodded, sensing the subtle shift, then addressed the group once more. Let me offer one more parable, to deepen our exploration of trust. The marketplace of eternal souls. In a realm beyond our mortal veil, where spirits convene in luminous halls, exists a grand bazaar of divine gifts. Souls gather from all corners of existence, trading treasures not of gold or gems, but of essence, pure and transformative. One soul offers boundless wisdom, insights that pierce veils of illusion. Another brings infectious laughter, lightening burdens with joyful release. Some carry melodies of heavenly songs, harmonies that heal fractured hearts. Others gift profound, healing silence, spaces where truths emerge unbidden. Bargains echo through ethereal stalls, exchanges made with open hearts. But the rarest, most coveted prize, the gift that draws endless admiration, is trust in its purest, radiant form. Not blind or reckless foolishness, but courageous trust that steps boldly into shadows of the great unknown, declaring with faith, though I grasp not all, I will advance, heart leading the way. Such a soul receives the finest rewards, treasures beyond mortal comprehension, peace that flows like an endless spring, clarity sharper than dawn's first ray, love that embraces without possessive cling. These gifts multiply, enriching all. But woe to those who arrive burdened, fists clenched around illusions of control. They offer expectations, rigid demands, hands too full to accept anything new. The marketplace turns away from them, leaving them empty, unchanged, alone. For to receive, one must first release, empty palms to welcome abundance. Deeply ponder this cosmic trade, how it mirrors our earthly existence. We hoard control like precious coins, fearing loss, guarding against surprise. But in doing so, we block the influx of life's most exquisite offerings. Trust opens the floodgates wide, inviting serendipity and grace. It's an active choice, a daily practice, to trade your fears for faith's embrace. Imagine arriving at life's bazaar. What do you bring? What do you seek? Let go of tight-fisted bargains, and watch wonders fill your open hands. This is surrender's deepest power, transforming scarcity into infinite wealth. As twilight draped the garden in velvet, listeners stirred, hearts stirred profoundly. Hamid rose slowly, mind a whirlwind, yet a seed of change had taken root. That night, he wandered homeward paths, steps unhurried for the very first time. He noticed the world's subtle symphonies. Birds rustling in twilight branches, their songs a melody of effortless being. The rhythm of his own steady footsteps, echoing like a heartbeat in harmony. The warm scent of bread baking nearby, wafting from humble ovens aglow. Stars emerged like scattered diamonds, a vast canopy of uncontrolled beauty. For once, he didn't plot the morrow. No lists of tasks, no contingency plans. He simply breathed the cool evening air, letting presence wash over his soul. In that unforced moment, peace visited, fleeting but real, a taste of freedom. Weeks unfolded like blooming flowers. Hamid's transformation gradual, authentic. Not a sudden storm of change, but a gentle thaw of winter's ice. He loosened some of his iron routines, allowing spontaneity to peek through. Mornings once regimented now included pauses to watch the sunrise's palette. He spoke with gentler tones to others, listening more, imposing less. Smiles came easier, uncalculated, warming interactions like spring sun. Once, a crucial business deal crumbled, partners withdrawing without warning. Old Hamid would have spiraled downward, frantic schemes to salvage and punish. But now he sought solace under a fig tree, its leaves whispering ancient comforts. Sitting still, he murmured to himself, "Perhaps this bowl floats another path. Trust the river's wiser redirection." No rage, no despair, just quiet acceptance. Opportunities arose from unexpected corners, better than the lost deal's promise. He formed deeper bonds with family, sharing vulnerabilities he once hid. Friends noted his newfound lightness, a man unburdened, truly alive. He explored poetry in quiet evenings, words flowing like Rumi's own verses. Never did he don the dervish robe, or whirl in ecstatic spiritual dances. His surrender was private, profound, a quiet alignment with life's rhythms. He learned that trust isn't blind leap, but attuned partnership with the divine. Deep explanations unfolded in his mind. Surrender as harmony, not defeat. It's recognizing our limited vision, yielding to a greater, loving intelligence. Control breeds anxiety's constant vigil, while trust invites restful vigilance. In vulnerability, strength multiplies, connections deepen, creativity surges. Hamid's life became a living testament, proof that release breeds abundance. In his twilight years, wisdom crowned, Hamid gathered his children close. Around flickering lamps in cozy rooms, he shared the tale that reshaped him. The wisest soul I ever encountered. He began with voice rich in memory, didn't hand me pat answers or formulas. He offered stories, silence, and space. In that vast quiet, I heard the river's song, not of domination, but graceful flow. Life isn't a battlefield to conquer, with strategies and armored will. It's a sacred river, inviting float. Trust its currents, release when needed. Grip too hard, and you sink in struggle. Open your palms, and you glide with ease. Surrender deeply and find your power. It's the courage to say to mystery, embracing uncertainty as ally. This path brings peace beyond measure, love that flows without end or condition. Remember, children, the clay bowl's lesson. Light, open, yielded to the stream. Not wandering lost, but guided perfectly to destinations dreamed by the divine. And if you journey to ancient Konya, stand by the fig tree in that rose garden, behind the mosque where echoes linger. Close your eyes, attune to the breeze. You might catch Rumi's voice whispering still, through leaves and time's gentle veil. Be like the clay bowl, dear traveler, buoyant in surrender's embrace. Float not aimlessly, but with purpose unseen, effortlessly arriving where fate intends. Trust the river, release your chains, and discover the power of true freedom. This tale, expanded in depth and layers, reveals surrender's multifaceted gem. It's not mere resignation to fate, but empowered alignment with cosmic dance. Control offers false security's veil, while trust unveils life's infinite tapestry. Deeply explored, It transforms the seeker. From rigid planner to fluid sage, Hamid's journey mirrors our own, inviting us to question our grips. What branches do you cling to fiercely? What bowls do you force to stay put? Release them and watch your soul soar. In this profound letting go lies the ultimate strength and joy. The river awaits, patient and wise. Step in, surrender, and truly live.